This is Patti Negri, and welcome to the Witching Hour. When is the Witching Hour, you say? Well, really, it's late at night, about 3 a.m., when the veil between the worlds is thinnest and magic happens. But this Witching Hour is right here, right now, whenever you are turning into this podcast. I bring you magical people, the best people in magic, metaphysics, the occult, witchcraft, sciences, spirituality. And today, you get doubly good. You get doubly good of some of my favorite women in the entire planet. Let me introduce you to Alex and Marlene, the proprietors and owners of House of Intuition. No, I don't know if all of you know who House of Intuition, but you probably do. They're a conglomerate here in Los Angeles, and they're spreading out, but they have a beautiful online business. It's the most magical metaphysical store I have ever seen, with their products and their apothecary and their candles and their everything. And now they even have a new book out, what I want to ask about. So without further ado, let me send you straight to them. Hi, Alex. Hi, Marlene. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you for having us, Patti.
Yes, thank you, Patti. It's Marlene. The whole audience will get to know our voices. I always say mine's really loud. I talk really super fast. Alex is more on the reserve side and talks a little slower, and definitely a lot less. She said a lot less. That's true.
Okay, well, now that we can tell you apart. No, that's cute. So, no, and I know you guys have even had different roles. I remember when I first went in and met you years and years ago at your Sunset store, the cute little house going up the stairs. And it's like, okay, she makes candles and she does this and she runs. It's like, you have this little magical formula from the very beginning.
Absolutely. I always say, when people say, well, what are your guys' plans? And I always tell people, it's like whatever spirit decides they're going to give us a promotion, because every year we're not doing the same thing that we did the last year. Like, we were literally in the beginning working the stores, being the cashier. We then moved on to making product and packing orders for the online store, doing deliveries. We've done it all. So now we get to sit here with you this year on 2022. We are new authors to to Your Intuition Led You Here, the book that just got released on December 28th. And now we get to sit in interviews. So this year is going to be interesting. We've never really been out there in the forefront of the business. So I think it's been now about a good 6 months of like speaking and talking and meeting people on the other side of the cameras. So it's fairly new to us. We're definitely not experts like you.
No, I think you're doing great so far. I can tell. I know these things. I'm psychic. So I'm glad about your book. Your Intuition Led You Here. So it sort of is your story, right? In a sense, or it starts out with that. How did this happen? How did House of Intuition even come into fruition, get born?
Yeah, the book. Do you want me to go ahead, Alex? You want me to give me permission to do that?
Well, I'll just say before she gets going, because then I can't really get in anything. Before she gets going, the story in the book is really like, it's a memoir, part memoir, and then also part of what we did as far as like rituals and spells that we did that helped us when we were creating the House of Intuition. It all came from, there was a lot of devastation, a lot of just really hardships that we went through before House of Intuition even came about. So
yes.
Go ahead.
There's so many questions I have for you, Patti. So, but we'll go on our journey just so that the audience could know exactly who Alex and I met in 2007. And in that time, it was a very uncertain time like we are now. We weren't going through a pandemic, but we definitely were going through a recession. And at that time, houses were going under, people were losing their jobs. Alex and I were in real estate. I had lost my aunt. I had freshly got out of a relationship that was with someone for 9 years that had I say fortunately now because my life is so beautiful, but at the time it was definitely devastating and unfortunate. I had found out that she was having an affair with my sister, which was super crazy at that time. And I hit the floor, and I was in a very desperate and just devastation. And then of course I meet Alex. So Alex is going through her turmoil, with real estate going upside down as well. She's Colombian. She's been here since she was 18 alone. Her family did bring her when she was 2, her mom, her dad, and her brother, but then they ended up moving back to their home country, and Alex decided she wanted to stay here at 18. I believe she likes to say it was because, you know, she didn't have any friends in Colombia, but I know it was all because she was gay and she didn't want to tell her family she was gay, and she just wanted to be out here and partying and live her life.
Not that it was a big secret, because it was kind of pretty obvious, but it was something that was really never spoken about. Like, it was just, you know, it was a long time ago. That wasn't cool. You know, it wasn't like people were afraid to come out. And I was one of those people. So, you know, I was afraid of rejection from my family, which was an absolute, like, unreal fear, but it's still a fear. So it was, for me, it was like an opportunity for me to just live my life, my true, you know, life, without having to explain anything to anybody. So
right. So then Alex and I meet, and in this whole time, Alex had already dabbled into the esoteric arts. You know, she was already, because at 18, being that I mean, I'll speak for her because I know her story already. We've been together now going on 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the house, one time, the other day, I totally said 12 years because House of Intuition's going on their 12th year anniversary. So I always seem to think that that's when our life began, but she's like, correction, we've been together for 15. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. So Alex and I, just like, she was doing the magical arts, and I had been brought up Catholic and then dabbled a little bit into Christianity, trying to find myself. I remember being a little girl, always trying to talk to the dead. You know, I remember, you know, burning candles on my little Barbie case. And I was like, oh, the spirits are going to come out. And my mom and my dad will be like, don't do that. What are you doing? You know, or splashing water on the mirror going, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, you know.
Yeah.
I remember doing all those things, and my family really wasn't open to it. So I suppressed it, obviously. But when Alex came in, she was burning candles, and I had already had that fear instilled in me to say that, no, I'm not supposed to be doing those things. But she was pretty hot and cute, right? So I was like, all right, you know, I can take it in for a little bit. Like, I'll just kind of stand, you know, 6 feet away. But as I saw her doing these prayers and praying to the moon and all of those things, because for her, being here since she was 18, she didn't have family. She only had her spirits and her ancestors that she talked to, and that comforted her, that she, you know, built this temple in her home. So when we met, she had already had this practice going, and I saw things were actually coming to fruition, and she wasn't a bad person. So obviously, with me feeling, I always tell people in the beginning, you know, I didn't know what this was. And I was very conditioned to think that religion was all I can do. I can't do anything outside of religion, because then I would, 1, be going against the church, and 2, you know, opening up portals to myself that was going to bring in some demons. So for Alex to be sharing this and me to be so vulnerable in a state where things were falling apart, I was obviously a little bit more open to the idea. So I was like, oh, like, you know, I can still pray to God, but wow, like, you're really making this happen. So then I started working with her.
And I just want to say, with regard to that, my spiritual journey really started because I didn't feel like fulfilled at the church. Like, I grew up Catholic, you know, my mother was very religious. And so, but it just felt, I didn't complete me. And I felt like there was more out there, that there was, you know, so many more things that I could be experiencing. And I started to learn about different practices and different things. And then I started pulling things that I liked, things that I didn't like.
I think opened you up. College?
Yeah, I went to college. I was a sociology major. So that gave me the opportunity to study about different religions, different practices. And so I started, like, really opening up to that. And I never, for me, it was always like, yeah, this is just weird. Like, why do I have to sit in a little cubby with this man and tell him my sins? Like, why can't I just have my own connection with God? Like, and I'm sure there's people out there that might feel the same way. Like, they may connect with some things of their religion or whatever they grew up with, but maybe not everything. And so for me, it was like, I'm gonna like just start building my own little arsenal of things that feel right for me. And so
Right.
that's what I did, and that's what I brought when I came when we met.
Yeah, and for religion, like with working with Alex, I knew at the very first moment that I was never going to chuck my religious faith away. I was going to keep it with me because that just feels like my foundation. Like I already have a connection with God. I have connection with the saints and the Virgin Mary, and I know all of my prayers. So I wasn't going to just release that. However, I was definitely open to other things. And so we would practice like candle burning. And during this time, again, I was in a very depressed state, right? Because I had lost my aunt, my relationship, my sister, my family, everything. And then Alex comes along. So now we're doing magic, and I don't want to go back to actually working for someone because I'd have been an entrepreneur for so many years that I had to do the hustle. So we had yard sales for about 2 years to pay our mortgage. We let a lot of real estate go. And all the details, all the gory details, guys, all the like novella and drama is in the book because I'm going to chop it all up. But we would go to tarot readings. And one time we went to a tarot reader, and the first tarot reader that I went to was not right before I met Alex. And again, I would have never went to a tarot reader had I not been vulnerable. And someone came to me and said, you should have a tarot reading. And I was like, why? Like, why would I want to bring the devil into my life when I'm so messed up, right? Like, I don't think that's a good idea. And she's like, no, maybe you can talk to my mom, because my Aunt Ruthie had passed away and this is her daughter coming to me. So she's like, like maybe they can talk to my mom for you. Because everybody thinks that I'm devastated for my aunt's death, but nobody knew on the side what would happen to my relationship because I was embarrassed, I was ashamed, and I didn't know how to say it. So, and also my ego was super huge. So I was like, oh no, I want everybody to think my life is so perfect, So I went to my first tarot reading, and I will tell you, like, I was just like every newbie that comes into our store in the beginning. I can totally relate with them because I came in with my arms crossed and my legs crossed. I'm like, I'm not going to let them into my energy field, and I want them to tell me what my dead grandma's name is, like a test for spirit. Yeah. Right. And now I know better, but then I was like totally guarded, and I waited. And of course, spirit knows better, man. Spirit knows how to get to you, right? So the minute she started to shuffle those cards, and she goes, there's a woman coming in on a cloud. And I was like, what? And of course, spirit had to give me a little bit of shocking news. Maybe they're not going to drop the name of my aunt. However, definitely described that she was coming in with a black dog, which I had lost my Rottweiler just a few weeks after my aunt died. So I'm like, okay, that's my dog. And then just goes on to my life and starts laying it out, like everything that I was going through. And I'm like, okay, how do you know that information? So now I'm curious. Now she's got me in. Now my arms are not crossed, my legs aren't crossed, and I'm all in. My head's all up in her face. Like, what else you got for me, And it was like, Western medicine, all they were doing was giving me medication, keeping me in bed because I was hallucinating already on all of those drugs that they were giving me for the depression I was in. But this tarot reader, like, she was such an angel, and she told me things that I just saw the little light at the end of the tunnel. And that is all I needed to know, that something out there has me. Something out there is like, this world isn't all I'm living for. And although my faith was strong in God, you still kind of, when you're everything's falling apart, you still have questions a little bit. You still question that. And my faith was getting a little, pulled. And so that tarot reader really, I felt, saved my life. So then I meet Alex, and she's all into tarot. Like, she's already into that stuff. So then we're like hooked, right? So now we're together again. I mean, I kind of go back and forth, guys. You're just going to have to follow. I told you I talk really fast.
You're good. You got it.
Okay, good. So now Alex, she's doing tarot readings, and again, we're having yard sales now. Now I'm bringing you back to 2009, about the year 2009. And we're having yard sales for the past 2 years, 2007 to 2009. And during this time, the hustle was really hard. You know, we are entrepreneurs at heart, and we will be able to put food on the table and the roof over our head. However, it's not fulfilling. You know, we were in deep prayer, and we would always talk about the spiritual detox center, not knowing what manifestation was. I had no idea the word of manifesting. I didn't know that you can put something out in the universe and something actually happen, or by a thought, by our voice, or, you know, like putting it out there by our words. I had no idea. I'm a complete newbie, okay? Fresh out of religion, should I say. So I'm coming out of the closet again, right? If you guys don't know, I'm gay. So now Alex is like, what if we have like the spiritual detox center? You know, we can help others, and we can show people that tarot reading isn't as bad as what maybe we were told, because it wasn't anything I had experienced. It was more of what I was told is what created my fear. So we wanted to change that stereotype, and we would just talk about it. I call it, you know, the pillow talk, the lottery ticket. If we won lottery, because we would be scratching lottery tickets. That was our date night, you know, that we were going to be millionaires by lottery ticket. I was like, ah! And we would just talk about like what we would buy, what we would create, what we would do. And the biggest one was a detox center. And so now we would do this over the year. And then we went to a tarot reading. And the woman again told us, like, I was at the point of my end of like the hustle. And I was like, we need something more stable. And so we went to a tarot reader and we're like, hey, like, you know, I want to see where my career is going, like what's happening. And she said, you know, you guys are going to be fine. However, I see the new business here for you. And I'm like, what? You know, and I already know, okay, like I said, what? I'm confused, but I'm not. I really know what it is. and I'm scared to ask, because now for me, and I can speak for Alex on this too, is that when I go to a tarot reader now, being, you know, I can say I'm seasoned at this point, because it's no longer like a, you know, entertainment thing for me. It's not like something I'm trying to test a reader over. I now am 100% in belief that she is a messenger, that there are messages coming from a world that is not this. So I don't go knocking on heaven's door, and I don't go pulling my spirits down, or my Aunt Ruthie, to ask her a question if I'm not ready to act upon it. So I know that I have to be accountable for what I'm about to hear. And so I look over to Alex and I'm like, do you think I should ask? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, oh gosh, okay, here it goes. So I said, you know, we want to have a spiritual detox center. Now this is 2010. Okay. This is still, the market is still crashed. Nobody's opening up businesses. People are closing them. And the reader's like, and the way she looked at me, she had never looked at me like that before. And I will tell you, I got chills. Now I know that that's kind of like my marker, like my spirit giving me confirmation. And back then I didn't know what that was. I just thought it was fear when your hair stands up on your arms, or you get chills. I thought that was just like, oh my God, I'm totally scared, you know, but it's not. It's actually, for me, now I know that it's spirit saying, Marlene, yes, it's right. You got it, you know? So it's part of my intuition and my confirmation and validation. So the reader's like, absolutely. And when she said that, bam, my crown of my head, which I didn't even know what a crown was back then either, but it like hit the top of my head, and the chills went down my back and down my arms. And I was like, this is it. And I just, of course, just started bawling, and more details are in the book, guys. But basically 5 days later after that reading, we found the little house up on the hill in Echo Park. And Echo Park wasn't even a thing. Okay. It was all about Silver Lake at the time. Echo Park was dead zone. It was no business. It wasn't a hip place. Now it's completely what they call is gentrified. But it's right. People I'll say it's gentrified. But it definitely has changed. So going back from 2010 to now, guys, we have 10 locations, one being in Miami. We opened up our first one in Florida, out of state, 4 months before the pandemic hit, which was so crazy. And now we have 9 in California, which 7 of them are throughout Los Angeles. And 2 of them one of them's in Belmont Shores and the other one's in Costa Mesa. and we have our online store. So I do have to say, whoever's listening out there, you know, if you've ever thought about a tarot reading, if you ever like questioned or, you know, had the inclination or kind of curious thoughts of wanting to try it, I say learn from your own experiences. Don't let fear of others come into play on your own path, because that is a way that we are conditioned to think. And it's really disempowering. You know, we have to be accountable for as a readee to listen to what the messenger is saying, because all they are is messengers. And I'm going to tell you, I've had many readings and not everything, you know, hit right then and there and chills down my back. Not everything came to fruition. And it's probably because I changed courses. It had nothing to do with the reader. It has to do with my free will. And we all have the power to be able to change direction.
Yes, 100%. And I always start out that we have free will, you know, and any reader who just doesn't quite get that, it's like, you're taking away their power. So it's about empowerment. I
Yeah.
love that. And again, 10 stores, what you guys have done in this short time, as compared to, again, most spiritual centers, metaphysical stores, they're not the business people that you guys are. I know stores that started the same time you guys start, and they still have one store. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a lovely store, but you guys, I think, obviously it's the love you put into it, and then your products. Yes, with the readers, you have really good readers that you're doing, but everybody who wants incense or needs resins or needs candles, I send them to you, because you just know they're going to be top quality and not skimped on in any way.
Which is super
We
crazy.
take pride in
We
that,
never,
for
and
sure.
when we opened up the house, we never wanted product. You know, it wasn't a store.
And we didn't set out to have 10 stores. We thought it was going to be, we were going to be the one little store with the porch. If you've been there, there's a little porch in the front. And her and I were going to sit there and greet our regulars and just, you know, that was our vision. We never set out to be what we are today. It just, we, you know, Spirit had another plan for us, and we just kind of listen. And I feel sometimes like we're like little pawns, like sometimes I'm just doing without really thinking, and it just becomes this other, you know, thing. So
yeah, when we didn't want any stores, we really wanted to, again, change the stereotype of psychic or tarot readers, right? Because I felt so deeply touched by how, again, I felt like they pulled me out of that rabbit hole that I couldn't get out for myself. So I wanted to be of service in that way. However, I did notice throughout the years, Patti, that us humans are the worst species there possibly can be. We are not the nicest people to each other. We are very judgmental. We want to place everybody in our own boxes. You know, we have a lot of opinions about a lot of things. And so when readers started to, you know, I was watching and I was seeing that we were actually starting to disempower people, because now the people were leaning more towards on readings, right? They weren't learning for themselves. And I would make candles for them because, again, remember I told you that in the beginning, Alex was making candles and stuff, and I had learned that it worked for me. So I would gift my candles in the beginning for the first, like, you know, year that House of Intuition was about. And I would give them to my clients. I'm like, can I make you a candle? I would always ask. And they're like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay, here you go. And then they would come back and they would look for me. And if I wasn't there, they would leave. And then they would come back. And I'm like, oh, Spirit was like, this is exactly what I felt disempowered before I opened up the House of Intuition. I would go into botanicas and I would go into these places, and I was a victim of, I can't even say victim because it was totally my choice. However, because I always knew it wasn't right, but I did it anyways. That, you know, they would be like, oh, I can make you a candle and it's going to cost you $1,200. And my desperation of wanting my things to change, I went and, you know, pulled all the money together and pay this enormous amount for nothing to happen. And then I was angry at the person and not really doing the work myself. And so then I felt like I was falling into that. I was falling into that category of like, I'm not teaching anybody. Like, if I fly off the face of the earth, these people are not going to know how to do their own candles. So we need to teach. And that's where the product came in. That's why all of our product is basically giving you like a step from 1 to 10, and we're only going to take you to 5. Same thing with my book. Our book, Your Intuition Led You Here. A lot of the rituals, and this is what I wanted to talk to you. This is why I'm so excited to talk to you, because we don't have mentors, okay? We only like try to mentor ourselves. We don't have like guru. Yeah, we don't have gurus, and we're not initiated into anything, or we're not like having, these huge teachers guiding us or anything like this in the past 12 years. So I'm super excited to like pick your brain a little bit on these topics that I have questions about.
Take away.
Okay, awesome. So a lot of times I get, with magic, I'm seeing that for Alex and I, and for me, we kind of built our own magical practice, right? We weren't taught by like a generation of like, 6 generations going down with these magic old spells of the 1700s or whatever. Like, we don't have that kind of arsenal. What we've built is kind of based off of reading and doing ourselves, and then feeling if it's right. And if it's not, we would change recipes, not according to what a recipe book said, but more of like what I was being guided to do.
Yes.
And then if it worked, I was like, that was going to be part of my little recipe book. And if it didn't work, I wouldn't necessarily chuck it. I would try it again later. Like, it was just something that I worked with, and I wanted to see where that came, just like a chef in the kitchen that wanted to learn how to cook.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times I get people that are like, you can't teach this, and I'm like, well, if we're not going to teach people, like, how are we going to share? I'm going to give you a prime example. We have a freezer spell up on our Instagram, that just got launched yesterday.
Yep.
And I want to know what your thoughts are on this, because they're like, you can't teach that. I'm like, you're going to hurt people by teaching them this. And I'm like, well, this isn't about ill intention. I'm not asking anybody to put somebody in the freezer just because they want to put them in there because they want to just like make their life complete hell. Like, that's not what I wanted. That's not what we're saying here. We're saying, if you want to stop people from talking about you, a certain person, from putting that negative energy on you, that you're able to freeze that moment and just kind of like put that on ice. We're not telling you to go and put something, that is ill intent on somebody. You're protecting your energy field, not, wishing harm on others. And so I want to know what your thoughts are on that. Like, how are newbies going to learn?
That's 100% right. And why would you not teach people that? It's defensive. I don't do any dark magic. I don't do manipulative, and I teach people freezer spells all the time. Why would you not? If there's somebody's being bombarded and they're being attacked, I'm very careful. And I know yours is beautiful. I saw it. It's like, you're not sending them bad energy, because what you put out, you get back. We know that. Whether you call that karma or the law of 3, whatever, what you put out, you get back. So why put out hexes and negative? Put out love, and that's what you get back. And I've done miraculous things, all come positive. But if somebody is attacking you, I just say, be very, very clear that you're just saying, this person cannot hurt me, my family, my work. You're not putting anything out to them. You're freezing them out from hurting you and your world.
Yes. And also, I think you're in more of a vulnerable state when you're having somebody else do a spell for you, because you don't know what their intention is, and you're already giving them permission to do that. So energetically, you're tied to that. Logically is what my head tells me. It's like, what are you going to do for me? Like, what if you go do something that I just co-signed for? You know what I mean? Like,
I do not do spells for, I really am an amazing spellcaster, but I don't do them for anybody. We do them together because, okay, you want to, the dumb things I've done. Like, you want to get on MasterChef, you want to get on America's Got Talent, you want to do these things. It's LA. It's like, okay, I will never have the passion that you have to do this. I will show you the workings. I will show you the herbs, the oils, the chants, the songs, how to put the intention in. but I need your passion and your
Yes.
breath. Your breath is your pneuma. You need your breath, your moisture in
life.
your breath, which is your free will.
Yes.
I need you putting that in intention into that candle working. I do not ever do. It's like, nope, we're doing it together. I don't care if we're sitting on Zoom on opposite sides of the planet.
Right.
I'm not going to go do it for you. I mean, unless there's somebody's in a coma and you're doing whatever, but no, because
Can't do it for
no one will have the passion of you
And I feel
to
like
do
it's
it.
so disempowering. It's like
Yes.
you just gave that person your power to like be like, you can't do that for yourself. And
No.
that just, you know, it maybe it was the old ways, you know, that people are used to doing, but I do know that we do get like a lot of backlash. And I know you know a lot. You've been in this world for so long, and we're newbies. I mean, even though it's been 12 years, we still, again,
We're learning.
we're still learning. And
We're
so-
all still learning. I've been in it for decades and decades and decades and still learn every day. But see, the thing is, what you are doing, it's the word intuition. I heard there's a fabulous shop. It's intuition. We got that taught out of us in our modern, Western, non-mystical society. They made it all about just logic. 1 + 1 = 2. This and this, and that logical left brain, which is not our spiritual brain. That is not where we're going to talk to spirits. We're going to know what's going to happen on Tuesday. So that got negated to us. So it's going back. I tell people, it's like, you do know right from wrong. You do know that this is a good thing to do. This isn't a good thing. If you don't go into this world, but we really do. I mean, yes, there are some weird cases, serial killers and all those people, but go back into that intuition, that sense of integrity, virtue, ethics, moral code, you know, not morality, who does what with that moral code. And you take that into your working and you can't do anything wrong. You can't. It is your intention. And again, you can get everything you need and want by putting out the positive energy, because that's what you get back. So
exactly. And the whole, like, this is the thing that I always want to like question for myself is like, again, I just love your wisdom. So I trust me, I was so excited to get you on. I was like, I want to just pick her brain so bad. Sorry, audience. I'm going to take my moment with Patti. But another thing is like, what do you believe in as far as like, you need to be initiated into some kind of a practice in order for you to do certain spells? Like that again feels a very boxed in. The religion that I just left is now trying to put me in a spell box, you know? And that doesn't feel good either. So, you know, these things intuitively, I'm thinking, how is that even the case when there's like some people around the world that would never have the opportunity to have the initiation being able to be performed? So you're telling me they could never do magic? Like, how does that work?
It doesn't work. That's exactly what you're saying. That's people trying to control you again. Whether if you think you're all new age or you're all old school, whatever, you're not. Because you're not. Nobody can tell you what to do but you. Again, we just have this thing, and I was going to say the man, but it isn't the man. It could be women too, of course, want to control us and tell you what to do. You don't want that taking away that free will. Just like if you study into religion, even Catholicism and Christianity, they started, let's take out reincarnation. Let's take out this, because then we can't control you. So as soon as, no matter how spiritual your circle is, or witchy circle, or non-witchy, or new age, or crystals, as soon as somebody's like, I am the way and this is it, run, just run. You initiate your dang self. Yes, you could get into a group. There's covens, there's year and a day initiations, but that's your spiritual practice. There is a difference. Your spiritual practice, I mean, they cross over. Somebody can go, I'm a witch. A witch could mean I'm Wiccan, or I'm Thelemic, or I'm a chaos magician. I'm traditional British craft. I work an earth system instead of an elemental system. That's what a witch means to me. I have the 8 Sabbaths. I worship the goddess. Or I'm a witch means I do magic. I take fate into my own hands. I am willing to see the natural progression of just things run downhill. Things take its easiest path and go, nope, I'm moving it. I'm building a road. I'm going up. And that's what it is to do magic, to take your life into your own hands. It's not being a victim, and you do something not because anybody tells you to. It's because you feel right or wrong. Yes, you listen to people. Yeah, I like what Marlene said. That's
I'm
true to
glad you
me.
learn.
But you find your own truths.
Yes,
And
and that's how you learn. You seek within, but you also listen to other people's stories, and whatever resonates, great, and what doesn't, doesn't.
yeah,
There's nothing more powerful than your own intuition.
nothing.
Nothing.
Because all this stuff, all that we're doing, all what you guys teach, your products, what I teach, what is so we can navigate life, this life and the next. It's a
Yeah.
roadmap.
I'm
So
so
you want to,
glad
if
you're
you,
bringing this up.
it's a roadmap. It's you could put different templates on top. If you want a typical Judeo-Christian or Catholic roadmap, great. If that's not good for you, want to be real new agey, great. If you want to be, I'm with, great. It's how you navigate, because it's the energy, and the energy is the same everywhere. Yes, the words are changed. Yes, the names are changed. But if you take it to that basic truth, it's the spiritual laws. It's the laws. It's science. Science and spirituality are crashing together with quantum. It's so who's
100%. And
Yes.
I'm glad that you brought up like reincarnation and you know, coming back, and in this lifetime, you know, I chose not to be in some particular craft, you know, that's going to box me in, or even a religion. But there might be a time that I was like full on Catholic, and I would have never left the church, and I didn't dabble into any of these things in my past life. So I do feel that like in my whole spirit and my whole being, that we have all these different walks of life, right? Because certain things so connect with me. So another topic of this is, you know how like some people like burn sage and some people don't. So now you have this tug, like you're not indigenous, you're not supposed to be burning sage. But I'm like, but wait a minute, like what if, because I have an Indian spirit that your little dolls you have, your spirits that you see, you
Yep.
back there, I have an Indian spirit that I have on my altar that I'm very connected to, and I also have an African spirit that I'm very connected to. And when I feel like the drumming and the like, I could feel it in my soul and my spirit, and I know that I had walked this life many times, and I feel connected to these certain cultures. But now I'm Mexican. So I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? Can I never burn sage in this life that I walk in this time in my being? But I have spirits behind me that use these tools. So I don't understand how like certain cultures hold certain, like they own certain things here on earth. And I don't get it. I'm just an Aquarius, and I just am a big
No.
dreamer, and I'm just like woo woo woo. Like,
I am with you. I am with you 100%. And that's just that we humans, like you said, we're mean sometimes, and we all those things that humans, we have this thing that I'm right and my truth be this. We have a little flaw in us. Look at war. We're amazing beings. I love humans because we are divine creatures, and we have free will. Oh my God, we get to create our lives. We are amazing, but we are screwed up. We are screwed up. But
well,
who is anybody
school.
to
I
say?
feel like this is our school, and these are our
and-
lessons.
And I will never say the truth is. I may say my truth or my
Yes.
experiences are, because
Yes.
your truth may be different. Like if we say how to get to my house to get to your house, why is there just one way to do it? You could walk, you could take a bike, you could take a car, you could fly, this is the only way to get from my house to your house? No, there's lots of ways. You figure out what your way to get there. That's it. It's so simple, and people overcomplicate who gets to do what to who. I can't even, I'm a witch, I'm a pagan, I'm far beyond Wiccan, I take from everybody, including Jewish and Catholic and Buddhist and Tibetan. Because it's a big, beautiful melting pot, which we are in this dang country. So if this is the magic that feels right to me, it's again, I've written my roadmap. It's a colorful roadmap. That's it.
Yeah.
And it changes too. You know, it's like, okay, this isn't working for your business. Yeah, as we evolve.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we kind of like it almost feels like you know, Alex likes to call it an arsenal of tools.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and we can pick as we choose in the times of our life that we need them. So
Exactly.
there's a time when I needed, like, you know, we just recently lost my mother-in-law, which is Alex's mom. And I felt, and she was really connected to Catholic Church. So we've been very strong into our Catholic belief, but doesn't mean I just chucked all my magic away. It just means at this time to connect to her, because she was so into religion, that walking into a church is where we find our healing. And so, but doesn't mean I no longer am a witch or like magic or,
No, not at all.
It's just right now in this particular time in my life, I'm doing this.
Yeah. And that's the flow again, that it's first, being true to yourself. And again, your heart, your truth, your deity, however it is, and that's going to change. And again, plus learning to, I call it speak to your audience. Like if you're in a group of heavy Catholics, you're not going to get too many witchy words. You say your same truth.
Right.
But it's the fact. The one I was just like, if you're teaching sex to grade school kids, you're going to teach it one way. If you're teaching it to horny teenagers, another way. To med students, another way. It's the same truth.
Right.
But again, so it's speaking your truth, and it doesn't have to negate anything, and it doesn't.
Wow. Thank you so much. Like,
yeah.
I've never talked so like about these things that just to me and Alex. So like I said, I'm so grateful for you and for you bringing us on here.
And again, I too, the more I read from your book and how your whole philosophy, why you do what you do, you guys just go to their website, read about the book, read about the story. It's about empowerment, because that's my whole, I don't care what you want to call your deity name, source, God, aliens, Jesus, whatever. But I don't want you to give away your power. It's not what I want, because everybody gives away their power to other people all the time, to limiting belief systems all the time, to religions that want to rule you versus find your truth. It's just like, just take your power back. If you don't have it, who or what have you given it to? And that's what you guys are about. That is what your products are about. Again, your candles all come very magical, and your products and everything. So it's putting everything, the power back in your hands.
Yes, absolutely. Everything that we do with our products definitely is intention, and we do set a lot of prayer. We don't just put our product. Alex and I are the creators of all of our recipes and so forth, and we put it on our altar. It usually stays anywhere from it could be there for 3 to some things stay on there for a couple years. I'm not going to lie to you, because it just doesn't feel like it's ready to be put into the universe. So until we feel it's right, or some of them don't even ever make it, we still do all of our product here in our house. Can you believe that?
Isn't that awesome?
It's so crazy. We still make all of our product in-house for all, I say 11 stores, because the online store is like a full-on store. But it is about that. And we don't want to lose that. We don't want to go mass produced, and that's going to dilute their magic. And I just love putting my hands in Mother Earth and feeling her, and just making those incense ourselves. It does something, and it's about energy.
And it shows. People know. That's why they flock to you, and that's why you have this many stores. I do. I could walk into another shop or a store or a regular store, and you feel like, well, it's the right color and it says the right things, but there's no magic here. Your stuff all has magic. It's every inch of it. So, oh my God, I have one thing I want to ask you too. But no, we're still okay on time. We're still okay. I forgot. We started a little late. We're good. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to make him leave yet.
I'm so sorry. I'm just, like I said, I could just talk to you for hours.
No, we can. That's what we do. This is just that we chat about such things. So are you saying again, and how is COVID not in itself? It's such a weird time now, and people are.
Yes,
I need more. The world is scary. And just like in 2008, that's when I came out of all my closets too. It's because I was so corporate in my production company, it's like, screw it. I'm doing reality television and talking to dead people, and they have to know it. But with COVID, again, all this uncertainty has made people go, oh my gosh, I need to know there's something more. I need to know there's something more. And
I feel it's totally divine intervention.
Yes, 100%. Wake up.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to take all your churches down. I'm going to close all their doors. I'm going to remove you from all, everybody. Now you're just by yourself in your home with just your family. So where, and I'm going to take all your jobs away. We had all our doors for 9 stores shut down. That was a scary time, right? We didn't know what was happening happening. But let me tell you, it had us dig deep down inside. We were all in prayer. So the whole world felt like it was in prayer,
Yes.
right? It was like, what's going to happen? Like, we are in such a beautiful time to be able to experience so much, even pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Look at what was happening pre-pandemic. Like, it was all about like recycle. Like, we couldn't even have a regular plastic straw. Like, we had to buy plastic bags at the market. Like, we were so opening to consciousness on a higher level. Like, we were talking to Mother Earth. Everybody was giving Mother Earth. She was already all pissed off at us anyways, but nonetheless, we were trying to do a correction, right? A lot of us were like, even the younger generation that people want to like say they're entitled, they're just little brats. You know, I happen to think they're just our big teachers. They're the new world. Like, they are so connected to Earth and their power that we don't understand it in this generation, right? We just don't understand them because they're tapped in. They're already using crystals. They're talking, they're creating their own magic. They're like, I don't need to work 9 to 5, Mom. I got this. And I'm like, what do you mean? You know? So it's different. It's different.
It is different. They are different. And I work with so many young people, both in media and whatever. I was working with my 40-year-olds, then I'm working with my 20-year-olds. Now I'm working with my teens with Awesomeness TV. Now I'm working with 14-year-olds. They're magic because, again, they can get all our training and it's not our parents' world, the black and white, right and wrong, yes and no, solid ground. No solid ground. We're moving at the age of Aquarius. There's no solid ground. No, we have to dance. We have to dance. We have to go outside of that, what it was. And you are different. They are beautiful. So yay.
Yeah. So COVID, I think, is here to definitely shake us up and change the world that we once knew, which is a good thing. I mean, we had a lot of death, but as you know, through every darkness, there will be light.
Yeah.
And so there's a lesson. There's something that needed to happen. We did lose a lot of beautiful angels here on the planet. However, I think they had a lot more work that they needed to do up in the heavens that are now helping us here in this world. So.
I think so too. I always say a lot of people are choosing to leave right now. And that will offend people and make people mad. No, my boyfriend, husband, whatever, didn't choose to do. But again, energetically and spirit wise.
Mom. So yeah, she was pretty mad too for a minute.
Yeah. And it is because death is hard on those left living. I've been talking to dead people since I was 4 or 5. They're fine as a rule. That really, yes, they're those not crossed over shades, but it's like, I don't have to have space and time. I don't have to have a body. I won't get any wrinkles. I'm good. I could watch the grandkids all at the same time that I'm golfing over here. Exactly. I'm on the pearly gates. I'm reincarnated all at once. Yeah. That is how the experience of most are like to me. It's like, okay, so it's us that have to deal with it with our little meat suits,
Yeah, Alex still is grieving. It's very new. It's September 28th. I know I know it's hard. Make her cry.
Did you do a dumb supper? Do you do a dumb supper, backwards dinner? Okay, it's done all over the world, even some Orthodox Catholic, but not in America and probably not in Mexico. It's a backwards dinner because that shows the other side is from them. We know the other side's mirror image, it's reverse. So have whatever you want for dinner, casual, dressy, doesn't matter. You could set a place for your deceased loved ones or not, or just a glass. You have to do it backwards. Start with dessert. And then you have your main course, and then you end up with your super salad or your appetizers. They will know it's for them. It's like, oh, this is my dinner. It's my dinner. And they will be there. So talk good, bad. I miss you. I love you. That was great when we did this and that. Somewhere during the dinner, go silent for just a few minutes. That's the dumb of dumb supper. It doesn't mean stupid. It means silent. In pagan ways, you would do it at Samhain, Halloween, and do the whole dinner celebrating the dead. But in the dumb supper for people crossing over, just a few minutes of silence, Alex, and she will connect with each of you at the table to your own comfort level and ability. You might sense something, you might feel something, you might hear something, you might just know, and then you start talking about it. But the most important part is at the end of the dinner, which is the beginning of the dinner, is you have to say goodbye to their fleshly body. Because that's the thing we can't have back. Again, this meat suit, soul lives, spirit lives. Science has proven that, spirituality proven, religion proven that, but this little meat suit is gone. So if we try to hold on to it, those cords we talk about, cut the cords, no strings attached. We use it. We have all these cords between each of us. In living people, it is heart to heart like this. When someone passes, that have to be clipped because now it's third eye cord. So she has to be your spirit mother, not your deceased mother. And you allow that. So it lets them be free. So they can know I'm going to be okay. Yes, I'm grieving, but the grieving light, and you could have a much better relationship with a spirit mother than a dead mother that doesn't have a meat suit anymore. It's the most beautiful. When I did it for my mom and I were best friends forever. And I couldn't ever imagine being without her, and everybody dies. And she did. And the dumb stuff, it's so healing for them and for everybody and make it fun, laugh, cry. It's fun to eat backwards. It's fun to eat dessert first, and it's for them. Yeah. It's in my book.
I'm definitely got to get
Thank
your
you,
book.
Patti.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I just cooked. I just made her, one of her favorite things that she used to love that I used to cook. And I put it on the altar for her. And, I always do offerings and things. So that's something that I'm connected to. And I love cooking. And of course, when I have time, and she was a foodie, but she can cook like, oh my God, like, I'm just going to miss so much of her cooking. But that is a beauty. I never heard of the backwards dinner. I will take that. Like, thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's called a dumb supper. Some people now are calling it a silent supper.
Okay.
It's always a reverse dinner, but you'll see it's like 3 pages in my book. It's easy. And you can look it up and there's going to be lots of different ways of doing it. But that to me is the best one for someone deceased. And all you have to do, it has to be 40 days or any time after. It could be 40 years after someone passes, but at least 40 days, because we do know that's the transition time.
Right.
It's planetary. It's actually this planet from here to there. So like that's why Noah 40 days, Jesus 40 days, Moses 40. It's science. It's actually planetary. So just 40 days or any time after. Cut these cords. Set it up. Your spirit loves. Yeah, you'll see. Great. And they're there. They are there. My mom was there. It's like, no, I don't cook as good as you. I don't cook at all.
Love that, Patti.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I'm going to have you guys back because I want to ask you all sorts of other things. But before I go, tell everybody where they can find you, your stores, your website, your book. Tell them about where they can get everything.
Yes. Our website, first of all, you guys can just Google House of Intuition and we'll definitely pop up. But you can go to our official website at www.houseofintuitionla.com. Our book is called Your Intuition Led You Here, and you can get that on Amazon. You can get it at Barnes & Noble, at Target, Walmart, and of course on our website as well, and in our stores and our locations. What's coming new? We're definitely on the verge of looking for new sites, looking for new places. I think that Spirit definitely is pushing us in that direction. So we would love to see House of Intuition all over the place for people to be able to come into. I will say we will have Patti's book in all of our locations fairly soon.
Yay! Thank you.
We'll merge Patti and the House of Intuition as we've already been merged by our hearts, but we will be merged by our products. And I can't wait, Patti, to see what you create even more. And I would love to also just support. You are an amazing, amazing vessel. And thank you so much for the work that you do.
Yes.
Thank you. And believe me, it's the Mutual Admiration Society, because I feel the exact same way about you from the second I met you from your stores. I've never recommended anybody more than I have you, your products and everything. So Mutual Admiration, president, vice president of our clubs.
And I am so excited to do your spells. Let me tell you, I'm like, I am going to put them to work.
And they're easy. And nobody can not do anything. It's, take your power back. Just say, thank you, no thanks. So, anyway, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Marlene. Everybody check out houseofintuitionla.com. Go to their stores. They're everywhere in the Los Angeles and now Orange County area, but they're everywhere on their online stores. So thank you, Alex. Thank you, Marlene, for visiting the Witching Hour.
Thank you, Patti. We love you.
Thank you.
Love you. Hey.
Bye.